Hi everyone, welcome to Young and Wifed Up. This is Gabby, and thank you for joining me today for another episode. If you want to hear any past episodes, you can head to youngandwifedup.com. You can also join our Facebook group, also Young and Wifed Up. If you would like to support us, you can check out all of our links on our website, youngandwifedup.com. We have tons of resources for you guys, and we also have different ways that you can support us, including shopping through our sponsors, Earth Hero, Covenant Eyes, and Imperfect Foods. And also, if you'd like to buy us a coffee or treat us to a new book, you can click the coffee cup in our website. So today we are also going to remind you about our YouTube giveaway. So if you are new to the podcast, we have been doing our podcast on Spotify and Apple Music and anywhere you listen to podcasts for the past 2 years. And we recently started our own YouTube channel so that you can see our awkwardness as we're talking instead of just listening. So if you are new to the YouTube channel, you can subscribe to enter our $20 Target gift card giveaway. And if you want any additional entries to up your chances of winning this prize, then you can comment on every video from January to the end of February to get additional entries. So I'm excited about that one. We're going to announce the winner in the beginning of March, and you'll have $20 to go shopping at Target. Also, we wanted to let you guys know that today it's just going to be me. If you're watching the YouTube channel, you only see me hanging out here. Marcella's with her family today. This is the day after we are filming our episode with Shannon, the Natural Family Planning episode. So if you see me wearing the same shirt as last night, don't judge me. I just woke up about an hour and a half ago. So it's been kind of a hectic weekend, and I'm going to be joining you guys this morning with a real side of sustainable living episode. I'm really excited about this one, and we're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back with today's subject.
I don't know about you, but I'm always on the hunt for a convenient shopping experience.
However, too much of the stuff we buy today is made without any thought of how it will affect our families and the world tomorrow.
What if there was an all-around better way to shop, with the convenience that we all want and the confidence that everything is made, packaged, and shipped sustainably?
Earth Hero is exactly that. Earth Hero is a one-stop shop for all your sustainable and eco-friendly products.
They have so many products ranging from beauty supplies, cleaning products, homeware, clothing, baby essentials, and so much more.
Join us today on our sustainable journey by using promo code Young and Wifed Up for 10% off your entire purchase.
Make sure to click the Earth Hero link on our website at youngandwifedup.com to start shopping today.
So I wanted to ask you guys to forgive me if you see me looking down at my notes on the video. It's kind of interesting doing an episode by myself on a video because I'm used to having Marcella to bounce ideas off of, and then I can take a quick glance at my notes to make sure I'm staying on track. And so if you see pauses of me looking down, I want to make sure that I am staying on track with the topic today and not going on tangents or losing my spot. So please forgive me. I'm not a professional podcaster. I'm just a girl in her apartment doing this for fun. So thank you guys for bearing with me. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this episode, I want to plug some past episodes that we've done on the topic. In season 1, episode 12, we have a Sustainability 101 episode where we go over a huge overview of different ways that you can become more sustainable in your home. And also I give good arguments for why, as Christian women, we should be aiming for this in our households. I also have another episode on the topic called Low Waste Pro Tips. It'll be in season 2, episode 41. And that one I go into really specific details of different ways that you can implement low waste living into your home, including traveling and food and just a bunch of details. So those 2 episodes are a really good starting point. before listening to this one. So if you haven't listened to those, I recommend you go listen to those first and then come back so that we can talk about the real. So this is the reason that I'd like to talk about the real side of sustainability. I feel like we so often get stuck in the Instagram trap of seeing only the aesthetic parts of life. And this is not just in the zero waste community, just any type of social media influencing. We see moms with their perfect children and their perfect homes, and we say, wow, like my life's falling apart. We see the girl with her mason jars full of dry goods and her brown paper packaging with her gifts, and we see her beautiful secondhand thrift store pieces that she got for her home, and we're like, wow, like I really want that. And I can also be guilty as a smaller low waste influencer myself. I have a low waste blog called Low Waste Homemaker, and it's just Instagram, and I really enjoy sharing my journey of sustainability on that Instagram. But I also sometimes will find myself getting into a trap of only sharing the beautiful and aesthetic sides of sustainable living and not really giving a full picture of exactly how hard and how dirty and gross sometimes sustainability can be. And even just practically, like, how do I do this? How do I apply this? Is there an easier way to do this? So that's why I wanted to talk about that today. I like low waste living. I like saying that more than zero waste because nobody is truly zero waste. So if you hear me referring back and forth from zero to low waste, I just want to be very clear, like I am in the Sustainability 101 episode, that nobody is truly zero waste. It's just a term that is coined by people that care about the environment and the impact that it has on their families. So I like the sustainable living community and striving for that because I think that it is attainable. Excuse me. I thought I had to sneeze. Okay. Let's just lighten the mood with a very loud sneeze. So I really think that the low waste and sustainable living is very accessible to many different types of families, living situations, and money situations too. And I feel like if we only show one side of low waste or sustainable living, then we're not giving the full picture. So then it doesn't feel as attainable to people with young children or that don't have a lot of money to spend. So that's why I'd like to talk about the real side, the side of low waste and sustainable living that isn't normally talked about and that, happens in my life. And I just want this to be a transparent and maybe some practical ideas that I can give you guys. So I have 5 different topics in low waste that I want to hit, and I'm going to give you those right now. Dishes and laundry, composting, the dedication to switching and dumping products, thrifting, food, and then those are the 5 main points, and then I'm going to touch a little bit about eco-anxiety at the end of the episode. So let's start with the endless laundry and dishes. So if you started your low waste journey and you find yourself with your cloth napkins, your rags, your unpapered towels that you have to wash, you are finding yourself doing more laundry than an average person that uses paper goods. And at first, when I started using these different things, I felt very overwhelmed because doing a lot of household duties is already difficult for me because of my chronic illness. And so adding on to that felt very overwhelming. But thankfully, I have learned some tips along the way to make this less of a burden and more of a joy in my life. And I want to share that with you. So when we are having people over, which since we moved into our larger apartment, we have been hosting Sunday dinners, we have been having family over more often and friends, and we find ourselves doing more dishes and running out of our cloth napkins and so on. So, my biggest tip, if you are getting into the cloth napkin side of sustainability, is to have a lot of them. I have about 20 to 30 cloth napkins or rags that I can count on, and that will usually get us through 2 or 3 weeks, and that's including hosting people. So I have gathered kind of over the years a collection of cloth napkins, and you know what I wish I did differently? I wish that I had thrifted them. I have bought all of my cloth napkins brand new, and I thought that if I did that, I would keep them super clean and stain free, and everybody would say like, wow, I'm like rubbing my hands with barbecue sauce on this. How are you keeping this clean? And I would have this perfect answer on how I do that. Well, another side is I don't use bleach or harsh chemicals when I'm doing my laundry. So sometimes there are stains on my napkins, and I wish I would have considered that when I first started collecting them, because if I had bought them secondhand and maybe darker colors that maybe have a stain or two, then my husband and I could have been using those for our day-to-day and then kept our nicer napkins for when we have people over. So I still kind of have a hierarchy of napkins in our house. Like we have our stained ones that are well loved, that my husband and I use every day for our breakfast and lunch and dinner and snacks and whatever else happens. And then we do have our nicer napkins that we have set aside for when we have company. And my tip is for those napkins, getting dark blues, navies, blacks, maroons, dark, rich colors of fabric. That way, if there is a stain, you can't see it. So that's something that I wish I would have known initially. I also, when we started moving into our new apartment, I realized that I couldn't just rely on my cleaning rags because we were going to have a lot of people helping us. I have quite a large collection of cleaning rags, but I needed something for the people that were helping us clean, and I just knew it was going to be a mountain of laundry that I didn't want to deal with. So instead of just buckling down and buying Bounty or other paper towels that I don't think have good materials and that they just contribute to the landfill, I opted for buying the Who Gives a Crap paper towels. That's the company that I buy my toilet paper from, and I love them. You've heard me talk about Who Gives a Crap several times on the episodes of the podcast, and also I post about it a lot in my Low Waste Homemaker Instagram. So they also sell tissues, and they also sell paper towels. And so I bought 6 packages of their paper towels. They came in 2 days, and it was perfect timing for me to use them during our moving. And it's crazy because we used cleaning rags for a lot of that, and the paper towels were just for the people that were helping us and for quick messes. I still have 2 or 3 rolls of those paper towels left, so we still use them. We didn't use them liberally. We used them as conservatively as we could, knowing that we didn't want to keep having to buy them. And I still have 2 rolls left. So I'm really happy about that. And I feel good about buying those paper towels and knowing that they're made from recycled materials and that they will, their end of life is better than a typical paper towel. Also in the hospitality side of things, we have people over frequently, like I said, and when we started having more people over, we realized the mountain of dishes was getting overwhelming, especially on Sunday nights. We have probably a dozen people over most Sunday nights for dinner, and the next morning or that evening, it would be super overwhelming for my husband, who is typically the one that does the dishes for us. So we started thinking about ways that we can minimize the dishes. And I don't know, I was struggling about buying paper goods or plastic, or I knew I didn't want to buy the plastic plates, but I also knew that there's bleached paper goods. That is the typical white paper plates that you see. So I did some research and found, I'm going to make sure to link them below, compostable, unbleached paper goods. And I was able to find a very large pack of paper plates and paper bowls for a very affordable price, and I love them. They're really durable. They worked really well. You could put tons of food on them, and I feel good about tossing them after. So that's what we've been opting for when we have people over, so that we can minimize the dishes. And so that was it might sound really funny to people that don't understand how long I've been doing this. But when you have been living a certain way, and principally certain things like buying paper plates can be a really big deal. And so for me, I was like weighing my options, like we could just keep doing mountains of dishes, but I don't want the dishes to be a burden to us to where we decide not to have people over. You know what I mean? So for me, hospitality trumps the need for paper goods. So we opted for the paper goods, and we just chose the unbleached compostable kind. So that's all I could think of for the dishes and laundry. My other tip for laundry, which might not be as sustainable for a large family that has children, even if you have 1 or 2 kids, I know that the laundry triples and quadruples because I've seen it with my friends and family, and it's insane. But what I do to make my laundry more sustainable is I try to do it all in 1 day or 2 days of the week. And I try to do it always on the cold cycle and a quick wash. That way the resources of the water are not being used as much, and my clothes turn out really clean. Also with the cloth napkins and paper towels, because I have a larger collection of them, I always end up doing them maybe every other week or every 3 weeks. So it's helped to have more cloths to rely on, and I have a little bucket that's inside of my water heater closet in the kitchen that I just throw the dirty linens in from the kitchen. And then once it's kind of overflowing, I decide it's time to go wash them. So those are things regarding dishes and laundry that I have found to help me in my sustainable journey, and also some tips that can maybe help you not be so overwhelmed with the ideas. Okay, composting. This is hard for me to talk about. I had very good intentions in the beginning of composting. I was taking my food scraps to somebody that had their own compost at the other side of town, a stranger somebody connected me with. And that was really nice because I didn't have to deal with trying to figure out how to compost on my own. Well, after doing that a few months, the pandemic hit and I lost contact with that family. And so I started panicking and saying, well, now what do I do with my food scraps? And I really enjoyed saving my eggshells and my coffee grounds and my veggie and produce scraps. So I have a whole episode on composting. It's Planty Things Part 2. I can't remember what episode number it is. It's totally my fault for not putting it in my notes. But that episode goes into how to compost, how to get started, and some tips that I have for people that are starting it up for the first time. I have gone up and down with my composting journey. There are seasons of my life where I haven't done it at all, and I don't feel guilty about it. And there are times where I'm super on top of it and everything my compost looks beautiful. I have a compost barrel at my parents' house that we did last year, and it still looks great. And there's a few more things that are still trying to break down in that one, but I cannot wait to use that for potting my plants. And I want to have a little garden outside of my my apartment. So that one is done, and I'm excited about that one. I also have a new composting tumbler that I recently got during the summertime when my husband got a little bit of a bonus and I got a little allowance. And so, of course, I had to spend it on something really funny as a compost tumbler, but I was excited to try composting this way. And so I have that at my parents' house, and these are the things that are hard for me. Having the compost tumbler not in my immediate reach. I go to my parents every day for the most part, but usually when I'm cooking, I'm not there, right? I'm at my own apartment and I need somewhere to store the food scraps. So there are two different ways that I do this. I store my food scraps in the freezer, or I have like a friend that will give me her food scraps and I'll keep it in the freezer until I go to my mom's house. Or I have this beautiful stainless steel composting bin that is in my water heater closet along with my cloth napkins. But it is probably ridden with so much mold right now. And this is why. The last time that I was putting produce and coffee grounds and my eggshells in there, I didn't realize that I was about to hit a really huge wave of depression in the summer, and it hit me without me knowing it was coming, which that usually happens to people when they're in a depressive episode. You don't really know that it's coming. It just kind of hits and everything goes on the back burner. And the compost bin was one of the first things to go when I was in that season in the summer. And so unfortunately, I still haven't cleaned it out. It's sitting in my water heater closet, and if I opened it, I'll probably throw up because it's so moldy. Like, I know that it's moldy because when we moved, my husband opened the lid and he immediately closed it and was like, it's not good. So I'm really sad about that. I'm trying not to get emotional, but it's just kind of like a reminder of what happened during the summer, and I've been pushing it off to get that taken care of because I really would like to be more consistent with my composting because I've really been enjoying it. But yeah, it was just one of those things that happened. And when you're going through seasons of struggle, some of the things that we do to keep our household up and running will start to be lower on the priority list, and composting was one of those things for me. Also, if you are new to composting, get ready to get your hands dirty. It is not a glamorous process. There's a reason that you don't see many pictures of people's composts on the internet. It is gross. There's not just dirt, but decomposing food, and that's not really a glamorous part of composting. The end result is amazing because you have this beautiful soil to feed your plants and your produce, but yeah, it's just one of those things that you kind of have to know what you're getting yourself into, and food going bad is one of those things. So I need to make it a priority in the next couple weeks to take care of that compost bin inside of my little closet and start over and just, give myself a break. Okay, I'm going to take a quick sip of my coffee, which I'm going to be transparent really quick. I did not make this. I bought this from Starbucks this morning, and it was in a plastic cup, and I put it in this very cute cup. So I'm not perfect. Okay, let's go into the next point. The dedication to find and try new products when switching from toxic ones. So I reiterate this anytime I talk about switching out things in your home. Always use what you have first. The most sustainable thing that you have is what you already own, what you already have in your pantries, what you already have in your beauty supplies. though you using that and not tossing everything to buy all new, beautiful, aesthetic, low waste products, that's counterintuitive. We want to use what we have first, and then we can talk about switching and ditching. There are some things that I still, which if you listen to our last episode with Shannon, she talked about Blueland and what a cool cleaning company it is. If you're not into making your own cleaners, this is a really good option. I've been using this absolutely disgusting toilet cleaner that I hate, and it's the cleanest one I could find for what I was looking for at the time, and I still haven't finished using it because there's only 2 of us. We don't clean the toilets like all the time, so I think I've had it for 6 or 7 months and it's still not gone, and so I'm still using it, and I do not like it, and it makes my nose hurt because it's really perfumey. I tried to find an unscented one, but I could not find an unscented toilet cleaner with like the least amount of chemicals. This was the only one that was available to me at the time. And so I'm really excited for when I'm done with that toilet cleaner to get the Blueland one. So I'm really excited about that. I'll let you guys know how that works out. But that's usually my philosophy, and what most sustainable influencers tell you is the best thing to do is to just use what you already have. And then when you start to run out of things, you can have those newer products that are less wasteful and better for your body. You can have them ready to go, and you can go ahead and purchase them then. Be patient with yourself, with doing your switching and ditching. It has taken me a year, maybe I think more than a year, to find deodorant that works for me. Today I posted on my Low Waste Homemaker Instagram my low waste deodorant reviews. So I show you all of the brands that I've tried over a year, and I finally found one that works for my body, and also I feel good about purchasing. But that took a long time, and I didn't want to just buy 6 deodorants at once and hope that one worked. It took over a year of trying and failing and figuring out what works with my body's hormones, and it was frustrating at times because I felt like, oh, I should just give up and go back to the more toxic deodorant that I was using before, because that one didn't make me smell, but I'm really glad I stuck it out because I finally found one that I love, and you should go check out my Instagram so you can see which one that is. But yeah, there are some things that take a lot more time and patience to find the product that really speaks to you and works with you, and it's in your budget, and it's something that you can feel good about buying. And those things take time, and it's not always like perfect the first time. When I was trying to switch my laundry detergents, it took me a while to finally feel comfortable with the one I was using and purchasing. And even now, I'm willing to try new things after feeling a little bit settled. What I usually do is I try to buy the least amount. If I'm trying a product, I either try to get a travel size of it, or I try to get the smallest amount that they offer. That way I can try it before I invest in a bigger full size. Okay, let's see. So yes, okay, so that's all I really wanted to say about finding new products. Again, the most sustainable thing is what you already have. And after that, doing some research, finding some low waste blogs that you trust that talk about the products that they believe in. The Clean Living women on Instagram, there's a lot of them that are really knowledgeable about the different chemicals to avoid and better packaging options. So just putting your feelers out there, saving some things to your phone when your things run out, then go ahead and try those things, okay? Okay, thrifting. I really, there's 2 sides of thrifting. I go to the thrift store usually once a week with a girlfriend. We found our local one that's just down the street. We could walk to it, and we love that one. We love to go there. It's like our little date with each other. We go on a walk there and take her son, and it's just a nice, relaxing girl time. And there are some things that I have found with thrifting over the years that are frustrating because when people say, oh, like just buy secondhand clothes and buy secondhand home decor, they don't tell you exactly how hard it is or how much patience you have to exercise, and that even some things are just not even worth buying secondhand. So when it comes to clothes, let's talk about clothes first. Not every body is the same. We already know that. The Lord has made us various shapes and sizes. And even when we are going through different seasons of life, like childbearing or illnesses or death in the family, there's all kinds of things that contribute to our bodies changing. And so when those things happen and we donate our clothes to a charity shop or a thrift store, we're giving them the things that we've got, and we're praying that somebody else is going to benefit from them. There are conflicting statistics of how much waste a thrift store contributes to. There's usually a turnover time. Every thrift store is different, so I'm not going to speak to everyone. But let's say, for example, your local thrift store will keep an item for a month, and if it hasn't sold, it throws it in the dumpster. And that is very, very, very saddening because you don't want to think about the things that you've given away as ending up in the landfill anyway. So I really want us to be mindful of when we are giving away our clothing or other things to the thrift store, that we understand that we are not getting off scot-free, that there could be waste that we are contributing to when we're doing that. I think giving to thrift stores is obviously a better option than throwing it in the trash yourself, because it does give an opportunity for somebody else to benefit from your items. But there's also other ways, such as textile recycling. There are many places that take textiles and they recycle them into new things. So if you look at your local recycling plants, or there might be some charity shops that actually do the textile recycling, that is a really good option because you know for a fact that your clothes are being turned into something else. As somebody that goes to the thrift store, that I've been going for a long time, I have found very low success in finding clothes for my larger body. I wear typically a double XL, and typically when I go to a thrift store, I go straight for the men's section to the t-shirts to see if I could find some band tees, and I don't even try anything else. I have recently been looking for headscarves and like things that I can wear, like accessorizing, but not anything that I can wear like shirts, dresses, skirts. This is why it's frustrating for me to go to a thrift store expecting to find clothes that will fit my body, and then I don't. And so I have kind of let go of that part of thrifting for myself. I don't look for clothes when I'm there. Sometimes I'll breeze through them and, just in case I find a gem. But 9 out of 10 times, there's not going to be something that fits, one, my body and also my modesty standards. And so it's frustrating because it's something that I really want to do, but with my body type, it's just not possible. So as much as I'd love to buy my clothes secondhand, there's just very limited ways for me to do that. There's some really cool secondhand online stores that are possible. I've tried doing that in the past as well, and it's difficult for me to buy clothes online. I have little to no motivation to send things back if they don't fit. So that's just me. That's just my preference. I buy most of my clothes new, and that is something that I'm willing to do. I buy pieces that I invest in, that I know I love and that fit my body well, and I wear them as long as I can. And then when I'm ready to give them away, I give them away to a thrift shop. Also, when it comes to decor, home decor for your specific home vision, it's very taxing on your patience. I have tried to do things both ways. When I first got married, I bought all of our home decor new if it wasn't gifted to us. And it was nice at first, but then the gift cards ran out and the wedding money ran out. And now now my style has changed drastically. So those pieces that I loved, that I spent money on, I don't even like them anymore. And so I have found that thrifting small pieces like art and candlesticks and things that make the larger picture makes everything brings everything together. That's what I opt for. So I have bought my rugs brand new, my curtains brand new, throw pillows, and throw blankets brand new for my new vision for the apartment. But everything else I plan getting secondhand, and I've been able to find quite a few things secondhand. Going on the Facebook Marketplace or going on Etsy. There's a lot of antique shops on Etsy where people go and hunt for antiques for you and then you buy it from them. So there's a lot of different ways that we can buy our home decor secondhand, but it does take a lot of patience. So with me, who wants this instant gratification and I want my home to look fabulous immediately because I have this vision in my mind of what I want it to look like, it's just not possible. So I've had to kind of pull back. Once I got my big pieces that I wanted to invest in new, now I'm willing to kind of wait for those wall pieces or the things that I want on my coffee table or the things that I want in the kitchen. So those sort of things I've been waiting on, and I've been able to gather a few things, but I don't know how much longer I'm going to be patient though, because it's really hard when you really want to make your home feel a certain way, and it just takes a lot of patience to get there. So hopefully I can hold out. I'll let you guys know, but there's a few things that I absolutely want to get secondhand. I'm still waiting on finding something for our wall in our bedroom above our bed. I want a tapestry, but I have this very specific vision in mind, and I think it's going to have to be vintage and not something brand new. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Is thrifting things is not as easy as going and all of a sudden all of your things are there that you've been looking for. You're going to have to go every week or go to several different ones or hunt on the Facebook Marketplace until you find the one that you want. And it does take a lot of patience and dedication. Lastly, I want to talk about food. So when you see the zero waste, low waste community, you see lots of beautiful mason jars filled with bulk goods. You see everybody's beautiful naked produce that they've chopped and they put in water and they've prepped. And a lot of that is very beautiful. And to a certain point, I try to aim for those sort of things. Like, I enjoy buying bulk things like oats and rice and things that we eat fairly regularly. But because ever since the shutdown in 2020, where we all of a sudden couldn't bring our own bags, all the bulk bins were completely shut down. In Southern California, there's not a whole lot of them that have opened back up. The only bulk thing that I've seen open back up is coffee grounds, because that one you can just pull a lever and you don't have to stick your hand in with a scooper. So I have had to buy things packaged and not bulk. And at first I started feeling really guilty about it, especially since I'd been buying bulk for quite a while. But now I just don't care. At this point in my life, I opt for quality of food. I want organic, whole food that I love, that my family's going to eat, that makes our bodies feel good and nourished. And I'm opting for that over the perfect packaging situation. So when you go into my pantries and you go into my fridge and my freezer, you're going to see plastic packaging. You're going to see imperfection. You're going to see things that I don't normally show on the internet, because it's hard for me to reconcile that there are certain foods that I just can't get unless it's in plastic packaging. And you know what? There are some companies that I do buy from that, like, I buy most of my food from Imperfect Foods, and I feel really good buying my packaged food from them because that's food that was bound for the landfill that Imperfect Foods was able to save and sell to me. So there's different ways that I'm able to buy my packaged food, but it's in a more sustainable way and makes me feel better as a consumer. There's also some companies that people in the low waste community have written to them and asked them to switch their packaging, and they have. And so I don't want us to give up on buying the better thing or using our wallets to vote on what we want as consumers, because that's important. So I want to encourage you that if you are in a position where you don't want plastics in your home anymore, because you know how it affects your bodies and your children's bodies negatively, then I encourage you to either buy packaged food from Imperfect Foods, or writing the companies that you totally believe in and ask them if they are willing to change their packaging so that you can feel better about what you're feeding your family. Those things do work. I want to emphasize over and over again whenever I talk to people, like, sometimes you feel really alone in some of the choices you make in homemaking and sustainability, but you're not alone. There are so many of us everywhere, and even those small changes that we make to our homes, they do impact larger society, and it's not all for nothing. So I want to encourage you in that. I also, when it comes to storing food, I wanted to say, use your ugly Tupperware, because there's so much that we see on the internet of these beautiful, all of their jars match and it's all glass Tupperware, or you see people with all their vintage canisters and you're like, all I have is my really old worn down plastic Tupperware that's BPA free and I don't know what to do. Again, the thing that you already have is the most sustainable. So if what you do is you get your bulk ground coffee in a paper bag, you take it home and you put it in your ugly Tupperware, you're still doing good. You're still doing good for yourself and you're still doing good for the earth. And so not everything has to be aesthetic. Like when you look at my house, there are certain things that I have tried to make beautiful. And I think that it's important to me that I want homemaking to be an art and a beauty. But then there's some things that are just not pretty at all. And you know what? Who cares? That's real life. And as long as you are doing what's best for you and your family, then who cares if it's not Instagrammable? And you know what? What makes something truly Instagrammable? Like I could take a picture of my fridge, the inside of my fridge, and post it on Instagram, and it could be very confusing because there's all these low waste, clean, organic products, and then there's like some things that I'm like, I don't know how it got there, but I have cinnamon rolls from Trader Joe's. Okay. So it's just having balance and learning what's best for you and your family. Those small steps do matter. Okay. So I'm wrapping up this episode. I hope that this was helpful to give you some ideas and maybe release some of the anxiety or the pressure that we can sometimes feel when we see people's beautiful homes and don't see the real parts of them, don't see the ugly side, the dirty side, the difficult side of sustainability. I lastly want to touch on eco-anxiety. So it's kind of funny. Whenever I first heard the term eco-anxiety, I would scoff and say people are having anxiety over like the earth, and that makes no sense because like we know that God is going to make a new heavens and new earth, and who cares, you know? But as I got my eschatology a little bit more under control and biblical, and secondly, thinking about humans over animals and the earth, because we are the ones that dwell in the earth, and we believe that we are made in the image of God and our children are made in the image of God. And so we should care about the things that are going in and out of our bodies, that are in our shelves, that we're putting around us in our environment. So that was the most compelling thing for me when I first started learning about low waste living. The most compelling thing was I want to care about my health and the health of my future children. There's another side to this that causes eco-anxiety. When I first started living low waste, I started seeing the sheer scale of plastic and the landfill and the recycling system not being good, and just like all the things that I started educating myself with, I just started panicking because I'm like, I need to fix this. You know, you feel responsible once you start learning something that you are passionate about. You want everybody to know. And so I started feeling really anxious about every little plastic thing in my home, or going to people's houses and seeing their water bottles and see, you know what I mean? Like things like that just started really getting to me when I first started this journey. But now I'm at a point where I think I have my eco-anxiety, quote unquote, under control. And a lot of that has to do with thinking about things that I can control and that I am able to do. And the rest is honestly like the Lord's. Even the things that I think I control, I still don't. Like the Lord has decreed all things, including the choices that we make in our home and the choices that other people make. I can't control what my neighbor next door is doing with their trash, but I can with my family, and I'm going to make this decision for my family. You know what I mean? And so those sort of things have helped me to not be anxious about it, and also to using my Instagram as a creative outlet to share those things, and seeing other people that are also interested in that, it really motivates me to keep going and to do things smaller scale, because it ends up building into a bigger impact. So thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. I have been really enjoying this journey, and I really hope that you were encouraged to try it yourself. I would like to take a quick break and come back to the listener recommendation of the week. Marcella, guess what?
What?
Last night, I made our dinner entirely out of incredible food that could have been thrown out as waste and headed to the landfill.
No way. How?
Imperfect Foods!
Imperfect Foods is a weekly grocery delivery service on a mission to build a better, less wasteful food system. They offer a full lineup of sustainable, affordable groceries that make the weekly chore of grocery shopping an effortless and delightful experience.
Imperfect Foods partners with food suppliers, farmers, and small businesses to ensure that delicious food goes into our pantries and instead of the landfill.
I feel like you started that sentence really weird.
I did.
Anyway, you guys have got to try it. Get $20 off your first Imperfect Foods delivery by using our link at youngandwifedup.com.
Get it. Okay, guys, so I have a recommendation today from Lily, and I really like this one. It's super practical, and it's free, and it's a dishes recommendation. So I'm going to pull my iPad around so I can read it word for word. Lily's comment on our Facebook group was, "Before I start cooking dinner, I empty my dishwasher and fill up my sink. Not all the way, but with soap and warm water. I put dishes in the water as I finish using them, and it makes after dinner cleanup so much faster. Most of the food is soaked off, and the dishes are ready to be immediately loaded into the dishwasher." Thank you so much for your cleaning hack and tip, Lily. We really appreciate it, and I think I'm going to implement this immediately. I never thought about this. Obviously, a lot of people always say, like, clean as you cook, and that's something that I try to do, but then I end up still with this mountain of dishes with tons of food stuck on it. So having things already soaking and ready to go while you're cooking can make after dinner cleanup so much faster. So thank you so much, Lily, for your recommendation. If you want your recommendation to be read on our episodes, head to our Facebook group. It's pinned on the announcements where we're asking for your guys' recommendations. Thank you guys so much for your time. I hope you have a fabulous week, and please feel free to DM me on Instagram or Facebook if you have any questions or comments about today's episode. Bye!